Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. It is a brand new week and it's a very, very action-packed week in terms of Arsenal. Andre Bata has never had a busier week at Arsenal than this one. A lot to do, but especially in terms of club-to-club negotiations, a lot is going on. He's got to talk to Chelsea. He's got to talk to Sporting. He's got to talk to Valencia. He's got to talk to Crystal Palace as well. And we are also hearing that there are a couple of departures that could happen at Arsenal this week, and that means Andre Bata is also going to be conducting those as well. Here is what is expected to happen at Arsenal in transfers this week. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. A couple of deals are very, very close, and I think some of them will be getting done this week, but some others might actually get out of the way next week as well. So what happened? Obviously, the big highlights of last week were Martin Zubimendi being confirmed as a new Arsenal signing. Shirt number 36 signs a 5-year deal, 65 million from Real Sociedad, and that deal was confirmed yesterday on Sunday as we were approaching the new week. But what was also confirmed as we were approaching the new week, and a deal that should be finalized during this week, is the Viktor Gyökerez deal. So Viktor Gyökeres, yesterday, Arsenal reached advanced negotiations with Sporting Lisbon to sign Viktor Gyökeres from Portugal to the Premier League. The player is pushing for the move 100%. There is communication from the player side that he won't be going back to training with Sporting CP. Now, today on Monday, Sporting CP are going back to training, and it was expected that Gyökeres would actually join up the team and go into training. But he has informed CP, I'm not coming back into training. I'm not going to train anymore with you. I just want to go to Arsenal. So make sure a deal is done. So this week, what do we have to do in order to get Viktor Gyökeres? Well, a couple of things have to happen. Number one, Arsenal have to, send in that right bid to Sporting CP. Now, we are being told that Arsenal are looking at 65 million euros in terms of a guaranteed fee and 15 million euros in terms of downs. Now, CP are saying we want 70 million euros guaranteed, and you can give us extras in terms of add-ons, which could be closer to 10 million euros. An agreement should be found within the next 24 to 48 hours. I don't think that a difference of 5 million euros, especially a difference in structure, is going to break this deal down. Arsenal, we know Arsenal have the money. We know that Arsenal came into this summer very well prepared to sign a centre forward. And according to Julien Rons, he was saying that this is a deal that doesn't need sales. This is a deal that Arsenal don't even have to worry about. They have the money right from January. They will get the deal done as long as the price is right. So that's the first thing that has to happen for Viktor Gyökeres to become an Arsenal player. On player side, everything is done apart from the medicals, and I'm afraid of the medicals for Gyökeres because there was a knee surgery that was done that was last summer, but he actually quickly came out of it. In my opinion, it should be okay, but I'm just afraid of that. Just afraid of that little thing. But apart from that, we need to agree the price, right, and the structure. After that, the player now has to fly to London and do his medicals. When that is done, he's got to do his interviews, and then he will be announced as an Arsenal player. Now, that all might not happen within the next 7 days. But what we expect on the Viktor Gyökeres deal to happen in the next 7 days, for sure, Arsenal will agree a structure and a price for the player with Sporting Lisbon. That will happen. And then after that, one thing I expect to happen, he will fly in London and do his medicals. That will also happen this week because the speed and the urgency of this deal is actually very, very high. So Gyökeres, keep your eyes open. We might get that here we go very soon. We might get that medical announcement very, very soon as well. Now, in terms of medicals, let's talk about Cristian Nørgaard, because Cristian Nørgaard is a deal that Arsenal agreed like 14 days ago. 14 days ago, Arsenal agreed the Cristian Nørgaard deal with Brentford, and the sporting director or director of football at Brentford actually came out and said it is not done yet, but it is traveling in that direction. Nørgaard is going to be an Arsenal player. Ever since then, we have been trying to understand what is going on, when is it going to do his medicals, everything, and it's just been quiet. And the reason as to why it's been quiet, honestly, we've got a lot of deals to work on. Andrea Bata, Mikel Arteta, they've got a lot of deals to work on. A medical for Cristian Nørgaard isn't a priority for Arsenal right about now. I'm sorry, it's not a priority. Honestly, it's not a priority. The medicals are not a priority. What is a priority right now is getting a center forward and signing other players that the team feels are quite more important or are pressing. Because medicals can be done at any time and announcements can be done at any time. But this week, we should be getting that Nørgaard medical out of the way. Because, again, we're going to have to pile up medicals once again. You have the Nørgaard medical, you have the Gyökeres medical coming in, and you've got a couple of players that have agreed personal terms with Arsenal, and they're just waiting for club-to-club agreements between Arsenal and their parent club. So Arsenal advancing quite well on a couple of deals, but the question is, can we get Nørgaard on a medical this week? I think it will happen. I think it's very, very possible. Now, this week, Arsenal have to get into talks with Chelsea in order to agree a fee for Noni Madueke. So what happened last week was purely Arsenal advancing to get the green light of the player, and it happened. Arsenal agreed personal terms on a 5-year deal with Noni Madueke. That is done. That is dusted. Noni Madueke has agreed to join Arsenal as long as Chelsea and Arsenal can find an agreement between the two clubs. Now, this one might take some time. I'm not saying it's going to take like more than 2 weeks, but it's one that can be agreed next week rather than this week. Because you've got to ask yourself, what are Arsenal's priorities right at the moment? Because almost all the deals are at the same stage. Gyökeres, very close. Madueke, very close. Eze, very close. Cristian Mosquera, very close. Nørgaard, medicals, and then he signs. So all the deals are very, very close, right? So Arsenal have got to ask themselves, what are our priorities right at the moment? What do we really want to do first, and then what do we want to do later? And that's why I think that the Madueke deal, however much it's easy, it's one that we might see Arsenal work on later rather than earlier. And the reason for that is, I think, Gyökeres is more important as a signing than Madueke. And I think Cristian Mosquera, with the departure of Tomiyasu, is a more urgently needed signing and more important signing than Madueke, with all respect to the Noni Madueke deal. So I think what happens, and we'll talk about Cristian Mosquera in a minute, but what happens is Madueke, to the Madueke deal, Arsenal will approach Chelsea, negotiate, understand the structure, understand every detail of what Chelsea really require, and maybe make a bid, right? And I think Arsenal are looking at Madueke at around 35 to 37 million euros or million pounds. It depends on the currency in it. And Chelsea might reject that deal, and then Arsenal go back, restructure, and then work on other deals as we prepare to go back to Chelsea, right? It's something Arsenal have done with Cristian Mosquera. And this week as well, let's talk about now Cristian Mosquera. Because this week, Arsenal should be able to send in a second bid for Cristian Mosquera. Last week, we thought a second bid was going to come in, and it didn't. Somehow, Arsenal decided to disappear without bidding for Cristian Mosquera. But this week, we expect a bid for Cristian Mosquera. We expect that deal to get as advanced as possible, right? Because there's nothing there for me. Absolutely, there is nothing there. What you have there with the Cristian Mosquera deal, to be honest, is a team that has already agreed they're losing their best player, and a player that's already agreed to join Arsenal. What Arsenal need to do, make a sensible bid, agree personal terms are great. Make a sensible bid, agree the structure of the deal with Valencia, and get the deal out of the way. So, on top of Gyokerez, don't be surprised if we get another here we go from Cristian Mosquera, and that will be this week, hopefully. Then there is the Eberechi Eze deal. The Eberechi Eze deal is one that I presume might actually be affected with what is going on with Ethan Nwanery. So Ethan Nwanery and his camp are saying, we need game time, but we also need assurance of game time. We need to know that our player is going to be getting the game time. Is going to get the game time that he requires. Okay, and Eze is one of the players that would potentially block that deal, because we're being told that Wanyeri is being looked at as a number 10 stroke 8. So if you sign Eze, do you still have that ability to play Ethan Wanyeri and give him enough minutes? Probably not. So either Eze is signed as a left winger, or he's signed as a number 8 or number 10. So it's going to depend. Now, this one I don't expect to progress and advance this week. And my reasoning is this. I think Arsenal will work on 2 deals this week. Like, massively work on 2 deals this week. That is Gyökeres and Mosquera. Those are the priorities. And the next week, Arsenal can walk into what you would say the surplus signings. Eze, Madueke, Rodrigo, and the others. Because many of these need departures. Many of these deals need departures to happen, right? So next week, we shall know what is the true position of Trossard, what is the true position of Martinelli, what is the true position of Ethan Wanyeri. Now, in terms of our in-squad players, this week we should be getting clarity on Ethan Wanyeri. Wanyeri is actually Chelsea have discussed 2 Arsenal, 2 Arsenal brilliant players, Max Downman and Ethan Wanyeri. Those 2 are wanted by Chelsea. But this week we should be able to know, is Wanyeri gonna stay? Is he gonna go? Are Arsenal giving him enough assurances to make him stay? Or are Arsenal giving him less of assurances to actually prompt him to leave? We should be getting that information this week. And then, after that, there is the Trossard thing. Because Fenerbahce, we are being told that Fenerbahce are working on the Leo Trossard deal. So if Fenerbahce are working on Leandro Trossard, this week we should be able to know, is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? And then the Gabriel Martinelli situation as well. So it's going to be an action-packed week. But if you ask me to sum up the highlights of what will happen, I would say an agreement with Sporting for Viktor Gyokerez, definitely 100% happening in terms of the fee and the structure. We expect around 70 million euros or 68 million euros to be guaranteed, and then the rest should be coming in installments. That's number 1. Number 2, a second bid for Cristian Mosquera should be flying in from Arsenal any point this week, right? And the structure should be agreed. Like, is 20 million euros that Arsenal want to pay? Is 25 that Valencia are willing to settle for? Can we find a compromise, guys? Can we really find a compromise? Because it shouldn't be that difficult, right? If you're signing other players in other positions for good money, I think Mosquera is worth 20 million euros. But there's no pressure from Arsenal. They know they can go out there and get another deal done. And then I think we shall get clarity on Wanyeri. We shall get clarity on Trossard. We shall get clarity on Martinelli. And we will also wait to see if we get to see Cristian Nørgaard on medical. Apart from that, I mean, we are in for surprises. There is the Rodrigo, story. But the Club World Cup ends on Sunday. That is the 13th. So if the Club World Cup is ending on Sunday, I really don't expect a lot of back and forth on the Rodrigo deal. Maybe it ends on Sunday, and next week we get to see Rodrigo talk to Xabi Alonso and Madrid. But this week, it's just about Madrid finishing the Club World Cup, and then Arsenal fans waiting to see what comes out of that meeting, or whether that meeting happens on Sunday or actually next week. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you right in the next one.